I'm a tattoo artist and a painter. I do primarily industrial landscapes that are abandoned, and I often will use that as a stage to create an alternate universe within that space. These spaces have kind of a dangerous quality to them. There's sort of a lawlessness that exists in those spaces. I like the sense of solitude that they provide, kind of a sense of being outside of the regular world. You can kind of imagine like almost anything happening there. But I really got interested in the idea of being an artist when I was a teenager. I was obsessed with doing graffiti art out all night, painting trains and abandoned buildings and getting into trouble. I was living in New York City at the time. I lived in Brooklyn, and I did a lot of painting there, a lot of bombing trains. I decided that going to college was not for me at the time. The schools weren't really embracing like street art or things that are focused on or taught now. It wasn't until later when I moved to Portland in the late 90s that I decided to go back to school, and I went to PNCA and took the painting program there. The Portland that I moved to was quiet and sleepy. There wasn't a lot going on here. There was a great underground music scene and lots of great underground culture. It was cheap to live here. And at the time that was kind of at the beginning of when I started to tattoo people, and Portland was a great city for tattooing. I started getting tattooed at the end of high school, and I saw that as maybe like a viable option for a job. I mail ordered my first tattoo gun, and I was practicing on oranges, and then I was practicing on my friends, and just kind of grew from there. I didn't really get any real experience and knowledge until I worked in a tattoo shop with other experienced tattooers that showed me the right ways to do things. You just kind of had to learn how to tattoo anything that anybody wanted who was going to walk in the door. Oh, nice. It looks great.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it.
What keeps me inspired about tattooing is just the boldness of it and the fierceness of it. It's like every passionate thing you could dream up distilled and boiled down into one image, and you're like, that's the image I'm gonna get put on me forever. Like, that's intense. I got really serious into like BMX freestyle as a teenager, and I was like competing and riding ramps and street and flatland and doing all this stuff, and that just general interest in cycling is like carried through, and now it's also an extension of something that I can do with my own kids. It's allowed me to sort of explore the world at a slower pace or in a different way than going by car everywhere. Drawing something in the environment, it takes time to make that work. It forces you to hear the sounds and to notice the tiniest little things because you have to study every individual detail. I'm not super set on like trying to draw a photorealistic drawing of the space, I might, just hone in on one area or work out compositional details or shapes. And then I take all of that information back into the studio and I kind of see how everything pans out. And if it's interesting enough, then I'll try to create a piece from that. And I do use like photo reference for the paintings, but at some point that stuff kind of all has to go by the wayside and into the garbage, and you're essentially just having a conversation with the painting. And the painting is kind of dictating what needs to happen as you're working on it. And that's the fun, kind of exciting part of making the work. When I first came, Portland it had like a grittiness to it. There are a lot of kind of abandoned industrial areas in the city. Now I mostly only seek them out as a purpose for making work. And there's very little of it around. I have to go farther afield. All that stuff has gotten torn down. I mean, everything looks really modern. I'm represented by the Russo Lee Gallery. I painted that in the summer, and I went back a couple of months ago. It's about 6 months since the painting was made, and it's gone, knocked down and excavated. I was thinking about that a lot when I was making that work. Some of the work that I do is really straightforward. People would call it cityscape paintings, or just painting the industrial landscape around me, right? I'm sort of documenting what's going on there, and then my final destination being a larger piece that I can build with collage elements and make a painting on a grander scale that's more narrative. It tells more of a story. Using this kind of abandoned space here, I've used that as a stage to kind of explore other ideas. So for instance, like this piece right here is from a torn up magazine. The other things were kind of bits and pieces of information from other magazines and stuff I found on the ground there. I'm constantly like adding and subtracting things as the work evolves. I want to definitely keep working more toward collage and abstraction versus painting the built environment around me. Whether I'm putting graffiti on a wall where there wasn't any, or whatever it is, like I have to find a way to get my own hand in there and make something new. And I think now that we're losing so much of old Portland, people are feeling that I'm doing all of this documentation of what's going on around here, and I'm not really trying to evoke a sense of nostalgia in people. I'm exploring time and the physical landscape, but I'm also very much like exploring my sense of place in the world. It makes me grounded. And that's just important for me personally. I'm just painting what I've always been interested in.
Oregon Art Beat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.